We talk about knife crime, I guess the hard part, the impact of community. And I guess, Nikita, I want to enable you to kind of talk about the impact of knife crime on you and your family.
My brother Ronan, it was just me and him to my parents. He was literally everything to me, everything to my mom, and everything to my dad. He was the glue that held our family together. He wasn't involved in knife crime, wasn't involved in gangs. And, you know, in all honesty, if Ronan was here and he was listening to this conversation, he probably wouldn't relate to any of it because, you know, he was just kind of like your normal 16-year-old. Genuinely, there is no words to tell you how much destruction it causes mentally, physically. My life is ruined, I know that. My mum and my dad's life is absolutely ruined because they've lost their only son. You know, it affects your job, it affects your life, it affects literally every aspect of my life. I have to carry around knowing that my brother was stabbed in the heart for no reason. Absolutely, he did nothing wrong. And, you know, we sat through a 5-week trial where these 4 people were on trial for my brother's murder, and you have to listen to every single detail, how they got the knife, how they were talking to each other, the telecoms, absolutely the AMPR, where the car was, where this was, where that was, and you have to just torture yourself, you have to listen to it, you have to watch them. And knowing that they got the wrong guy, because this was a case of mistaken identity. Maybe, you know, kids like Ron who think this conversation doesn't apply to them, you never think it's going to be you. You never think you're going to get stabbed. You've got to understand that knife crime does apply to everyone, unfortunately. The destruction, like I said, there is just no words. All we want as a family now, and I'm sure so many other families like who have experienced this, is for it to stop now. We need to work together to ensure the safety of our young people. It's too many lives lost for no reason.
Yeah, and I share that sentiment. You know, I buried over 22 young people to knife crime. So those thoughts and those feelings definitely resonate.
When the person who has unfortunately lost their life wasn't involved, it's quite often that the whole community is broken by that, because now it hits home. If you live on the road or round the corner from the person who's been stabbed, you're now thinking about your children who aren't involved, but 1 second, neither was he. Neither was Ronan and many other people, and I can imagine out of the 22 young people, not all of them were involved in any sort of thing to do with it, and either got caught up or something happened, and they was just there, wrong time, wrong place.
There's going to be young people that think, why me? Why do I need to listen to this conversation? What would we say to young people that are involved, they have a friend that is obsessed, or they do it for the trend, or they see something on social media? What are our messages to these young people?
I think one thing that's overlooked is you are the company you keep. It's a good saying that I used to get told a lot when I was younger. If you're around people carrying knives, likelihood is you're involved in the culture one way or another. You're either going to start carrying, or you're going to watch a stabbing. Now, if you watch a stabbing and don't report it, you're also going to get some form of charge. I can't tell you you're going to get the direct charge for stabbing someone, but you're going to get a charge for not complying with helping the police with their investigation.
I want to jump on the back of that, because there's some young people that might say, well, what about if somebody's my next door neighbour? What about if it's the kids that are in the little cul-de-sac or the estate that I live on? Like, how you're saying company that you keep, but these are the people that I go to school with. My mum knows their mum. So how am I supposed to detach myself away from individuals that lived that before we even talk about the conversation about snitching?
It's definitely a hard one, but like, without saying the community I grew up in, your neighbour was a drug dealer, the other neighbour was laundering money through a business, and the other neighbour was stabbing people. And I ended up doing it as a young age, but I didn't end up doing that into my adulthood. And that's because I distanced myself, and I realised I was better off by looking at different avenues and routes. So for example, you say your neighbours, yeah? You don't have to communicate with your neighbours on a daily basis. I know it's not a nice setting. It's not going to be a nice setting at all, but you have 2 choices to make, and sometimes life gives you them hard choices. You don't get a pick and choose. You have them choices. These are the choices. You now be part of your community and be a well-known person, but you're also now going to be involved in crime and potentially mess up all of your life aspects, your aspirations, everything. Or you lock yourself away for a little bit. You have that 2-3 year seclusion, and you get yourself out of there, sort of thing. That everyone says they do it to get their mum out the ends, but how many men get their mum out the ends?
And So coming on to that point about, you know, snitching and stuff, if you and your friends are all involved in a stabbing and you all get caught by the police and you're there in court, do you really think that your barristers are going to say, well, actually, no, you're not going to snitch on your mate? You're all going to turn on each other and you're all going to end up having to go at each other anyways, and you'll all be charged in a joint enterprise and then get locked up. So at the end of the day, you know, it's a choice you've got to make, but in the long run, you're going to have to end up
in the long run, you're snitching and
you're
getting charged,
snitching and you're
snitching
getting
at the
charged.
same time. Innit?
So, you know, before it gets to the point where you actually kill somebody or you stab somebody, you know, make the right decision. Forget about this snitching stuff and, you know, put your life on track is all I can say. But I know it's a lot easier said than done.